Hello everyone and welcome to our Bet Yosef and Shulhan Aruch Shiur. Today we're learning the laws of Tefillah in order Haim Siman Sadi, and today we'll learn Seifim Gimel Daled Hey and Av. Today's shiur is in loving memory of Yvette Bat Nazira, a very special woman and the matriarch of a great family. Seif Gimel discusses the Braita brought in Masechet Berachot, which discusses how a field laborer whose job is to work on the top of an olive or fig tree will conduct themselves when the time of tefillah comes. Since these trees have wide branches, they can stand on them and they could pray in their spot, as opposed to other trees that would not support standing, which would disrupt their kavanah, and therefore they must go down from these trees. Only on the olive and fig tree can they pray in their position while they work, in their position where they were working. However, the manager or owner of the orchard must definitely go down, because the Hachamim are only lenient for the workers, so that they would not waste time going down and up, as they're required to work as much as possible, and their time has value to their boss. And for this exact reason, Rabbi Albert says, as he explains the Yerushalmi, that only on these trees have a leniency due to the fact that it's also very difficult to go up and down the olive and fig tree. The Tosafot asks that we've already learned, and we mentioned this in the earlier shiur, that a person cannot pray on a chair or stool because it shows haughtiness. Seemingly, that should of itself be a reason why this should be a problem to pray on top of a tree. So Tosafot answer that the worker standing on an area where he's working, it's almost like a platform, and therefore it's not an issue. Like we mentioned in the name of the Rambam in Seif Bet, that a platform is a separate entity to itself, and therefore it's okay to pray there. If Gimel reads as follows: Ha'omanin, which are the workers, the craftsmen, shosim melacha lebal habayit, to the boss, yecholin leitpalel berosh hazayit berosh ha'teyana, ve'em beze mishum lo ya'amod al gabe makom gavoa v'yitpalel, kivan she'alu la'asot melachtam, havei kemo she'ala la'aliyah, u'bish'ar ilanot tzerichim lered. Like we said, certain trees they could stand, certain trees they have to come down. והטעם שנשתנה זית בשאר אילנות, מפני שיש להם ענפים הרבה, יותר משאר אילנות, יש צורך גדול בעלייתם ובירידתם, יתבטלו במלאכתם. Like we said in the name of Rabbi Albert. לפי כך אמרו שיפעלו שם. אבל שאר אילנות דלקת ביטול ירדו. בעל הבית, אפילו מראש הזית התאנה צריך ללד ולהתפלל, דעה אינו משובד למלאכה, שהוא ברשות עצמו. ומקילו אצל פועלים מפני ביטול מלאכה, lo ekelu etzel bal habayit. The boss, the manager, does not have this time labor restriction that he needs to perform at every moment, and therefore he definitely has to come down. The Kaf HaHaim does mention that this halacha is applicable where the boss is very strict about the time of the worker. However, if there's a custom and a hanhaga that people pray, that the boss allows the workers to pray, it's definitely allowed. We move on to Seif Daled, which discusses how the architecture of the synagogue is related to concentration during the tefillah. The Gemara in Berachot Lamed Daled and Mubet reads as follows: Amar Baheiya bar Abba Amar Yohanan, Al yitpalel Adam ela bebay sheyesh sham halonot, shneimar bechavin petihan le be'inite neged Yerushalem, which is a pasuk from Daniel, which tells us that when you're praying in your attic, open the windows and have openings towards Jerusalem, neged Yerushalayim, which means that when a person prays, they should have windows or openings towards Yerushalayim. Rashi explains that these windows, these openings, gormin lo, they cause a person, sheithavin libo, shehu mistakel klapi shamayim, when he looks above, he has a sense of humility, subservience, and Rashi, as well as the Rambam and the Torah, say that therefore the windows should be towards the east or towards Yerushalayim. Rabbeinu Yonah adds, when a person is focused on his direction of his prayer, he's more focused on praying towards Borei Olam, and therefore his prayer will be more desired and accepted by Hashem. He adds another explanation, which is a different angle. He says when a person is exposed to light, it gives him clarity of the mind. It allows him to have better kavanah in his tefillah. The number of windows is not mentioned in the Gemara, and it's not mentioned in the Poskim. However, the Beit Yosef brings a Zohar in Parashat Pekudei that says there should be 12 halonot, and it's a sod reason, it's a mystical reason, sod nechmas. In general, the Beit Yosef in a few places does mention the Zohar HaKadosh, and in general he does say that when the Zohar and the Talmud have a conflict or a contradiction, we follow the Talmud. However, if the Zohar is maybe against Rishonim, or the Zohar is just an idea and it's not brought in other places, it will be brought lahalacha. And therefore, Maran reads in seif dalet, tzarich liftoch petahim or halanot keneged Yerushalayim kedei litpalel kenidan. You have to open up windows or doors or openings towards Yerushalayim. V'tov sheyeh b'beit HaKnesset shenem asar halanot, like the words of the Zohar HaKadosh. We continue to seif hay. Seif hay is based on the Gemara, same Gemara, Daf Lamidalid. Amar Rav Kahana, Hatzif alai mande matzle bebikta. A person that prays in a bikta, which the poskim explain as an open area, either a valley or an open field, it's a problem. The question is, what's the problem? What's the problem in the valley? What's the problem in the open field? As she explains, that when a person's praying in more private quarters, he has more awe of the king, and his heart is nishbar. She doesn't mean that his heart is broken, but he means that there's more of a sense of emotion, more of a sense of sincerity when you're in a more of a private area, not as an open area. Beit Yosef also brings Maria Buhav, who says that praying in an open area is sort of a shameless act, as he stands in the open and doesn't seek to be in a more hidden area, showing more humility. Now, of course, Hashem's presence is all over. Milo kol haaretz kevodo. However, this attitude that you should be in a more hidden area shows more humility, which is necessary for the tefillah. Tosafot here asks, and the Beit Yosef brings it, question from the parasha, from Yitzhak Avinu. Didn't Yitzhak pray in the field? Yitzhak clearly prayed in the field, which is against the halacha that Rav Kahana is teaching us in the Gemara. Tosafot give two answers. The first answer is that Yitzhak prayed on Har Moriah, like it says in the Gemara on Pesachim. Praying on Har Moriah, place where the Shekhinah's presence is so strong, does not allow feelings of arrogance to be felt, as the awe, as the trepidation on Har HaBayit is so strong. We don't have this issue of Rav Kahana. Secondly, Tosafot give a different answer. They say that the valley discussed in the Gemara is a place that people were passing by, and the person praying could be distracted, could be interrupted by them. However, when Yitzhak prayed in the field, there were no passerbys, it was very quiet, and that's why it was allowed. Beit Yosef Tameya, he doesn't understand Tosafot. The Gemara says, Rav Kahana says, that a person should not pray in an open area because it's chutzpah, it's brazen. And the Rashi and Maria Buhab give different explanations. But according to the second explanation of Tosafot, it's not an issue of chutzpah, it's the issue of being interrupted. Being interrupted is not an issue of being brazen. It's a lack of concentration, or maybe it's a lack of preparing the proper setting for prayer, which is another topic. And therefore, the Beit Yosef leaves the question, the Tosafot in a question mark, and he doesn't answer the question. However, again, Abraham and other Aharonim do answer the Beit Yosef's question, Ayin Sham. Maran and Sifhei reads as follows: Lo yitpalel b'makom parutz kamo basadeh, mipnei shikshu b'makom tzniut, hala alav emat melech v'libo nishbar. It's the lashon of Rashi in Shulhan Aruch that when a person prays in a more hidden place, he has more fear, more awe of Borei Olam, and his prayer will have more sincerity. Seif Vav is a quote straight from the Gemara. There's no explanation in the Torah, no explanation in the Beit Yosef. So when we read Shulhan Aruch, we're going to be reading the Gemara. It says, Maran Seif Vav, V'lo b'chorba, mipnei hashad, mipnei mapolet, mipnei mazikin. There's three issues that are present when praying in a destroyed building. Chorba. One, hashad, that he might be suspected to be doing immoral acts. Mapolet is that the building could collapse, which is definitely a problem. And mazikin, which are evil forces, which are present, as the Gemara and Berachot of Gimel explain, that are present in a chorba. Thank you for joining us. B'ezrat Hashem will continue with Seif Zayin in our next shiur. Besorot tovot for all of Am Yisrael.